Shanez, and welcome to English Techniques. Today, I shall be answering commonly asked questions which IELTS beginners tend to wonder about. Although I shall not yet be addressing details covering the 4 subtests, I believe the bits of information I am about to share can help any IELTS test taker. And because of the number of questions I need to cover, I have decided to divide this episode into 2 parts, part 2 of which shall be uploaded in the next few days. So now, let's begin with the questions.
Frequently asked questions. Is the IELTS test the right English proficiency test for me? Whether or not you should take the IELTS test depends on what the institution, agency, school, or employer requires of you. Some may specifically ask for IELTS test results, which means the IELTS test needs to be taken. Others, however, allow other test options. When this is the case, you may have to take into consideration cost, frequency of testing, and location. I understand that the IELTS test, which covers all 4 aspects of the English language, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, is relatively cheaper than other test options. In certain countries, IELTS tests are held once or twice a month in major cities. This addresses test accessibility for many test takers. Details of test dates and locations can be found on the websites of both IDP and British Council. Should I take the academic test or the general training test? The choice between the 2 types once again depends on certain factors. First would be the requirements of the institution. So, it would be best to consult the agency handling the processing of your documents to clarify which test should be taken. Taking the wrong test would mean a waste of time, money, and effort. Therefore, it is imperative that one seeks clarification with the agencies processing their documents before taking the test. Which test should I take? Regular IELTS, UKVI, or IELTS Life Skills? If you plan to study, work, or migrate to countries such as Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and Ireland, the results of the regular IELTS test shall be accepted. UKVI test results, on the other hand, are required for those who wish to study and seek professional registration in the UK. This is needed for UK visas and immigration. In certain circumstances, though, regular IELTS test results may be submitted to UK's Nursing and Midwifery Council, or NMC. This happens when a candidate's UKVI results may not have reached NMC's minimum score requirements. Although the UKVI results may be used for immigration purposes, it will not be accepted by NMC if at least a 7 is not reached in each of the 4 subtests. This is when the candidate can take the regular IELTS for NMC purposes and must reach the target scores before the UKVI test result expires. IELTS Life Skills, meanwhile, is for immigration purposes in the UK and is normally taken by those applying for spouse or fiancé visas. How different is the regular IELTS test from UKVI and IELTS Life Skills? The regular IELTS test and the UKVI test are exactly the same in terms of format, level of difficulty, and scoring system. In fact, if conducted on the same day, the 2 tests have the exact same content. The only difference is that the UKVI is a UK government-approved secure English language test with more control measures in place and is therefore more expensive than the regular IELTS test. Test report forms are slightly different as well. IELTS Life Skills, on the other hand, has a completely different test format, involving only the listening and speaking tests. Will UKVI test results be accepted in other countries? UKVI test results are accepted by over 10,000 organizations all over the world. These include government agencies, schools, and employers. How much is the test fee? The test fees can be found on the website of your preferred testing center. It is best to refer to the website because sometimes the rates may change. The rates vary for regular IELTS, UKVI, and IELTS Life Skills. How do I register for the test? Test registration is done online these days. You just have to go to the website of your preferred testing center, IDP or British Council, and choose your test type, test location, and test date. After which, you simply encode required data. Payment may be done through credit card or debit card. Other payment options, such as bank deposits, are accepted as well, and details shall be provided by the testing center. Be sure that before you start the registration process, the ID which you intend to present on test day should have already been scanned and saved on your device, your mobile phone, laptop, or PC, so that it can easily be uploaded once a scanned copy is asked for. I shall eventually be posting an episode that shall guide you with online test registration. What are the test registration requirements? The first requirement is the test fee, payment of which can be made through debit or credit card. Other payment options may be available, bank deposits being one of them. The second test requirement is a valid ID. Passports and certain government-issued IDs are accepted. Please check with your respective testing center as to which ones are acceptable. There are certain points I want to raise about the ID. Be sure that your IDs will not yet be expired by test date, or better yet, a week after test date, because the speaking test may be administered after the written part of the exam, which is the listening, the reading, and the writing tests. For the ladies, if you happen to be married, but your ID still reflects your maiden name, the name on your test report form shall bear your maiden name. Now, a very important point about your ID. Please be sure that the ID you submit upon test registration is the very same original ID that you present on test day. For example, if you submitted your passport during test registration, you will not be allowed to use your Social Security ID on test day, even if it bears the same name, photo, signature, and other pertinent details. That has to be made very clear. So, it is advisable not to give up or surrender that particular ID to anyone or any agency before test day. In addition to that, IDs with punched holes will be considered invalid. Unfortunately, photocopies or screenshots of the said ID will not be honored. And if you cannot produce the required ID on test day itself, you will not be allowed to take the test, and your test fee cannot be refunded. Now, if you happen to lose your ID before the test, please contact the testing center as soon as possible to coordinate with them for change of ID. You'll have to write a letter and provide a copy of the new ID. The latest date for request for change of ID may be a few days before the test, depending on the testing center's policies. Requesting for ID change on test day itself has been rejected in the past. My advice to my students: a week before the test, check to see if your ID is still with you. Then, keep it in a safe place. Don't bring it wherever you go to avoid loss or theft. Take it with you on test day itself. Can I cancel or postpone my IELTS test after registration? Test cancellation can be done more than 5 weeks before test date. A refund form, to which the original receipt must be attached, has to be filled up and submitted to the testing center. The test fee cannot be refunded in full, as a certain percentage will be retained by the testing center as administrative charge. Cancellations done within the 5-week mark from the test date may be considered for approval under certain conditions. Among them are hospitalization or serious injury, which must be supported by a medical certificate. Minor illnesses are not covered. The second case would be the loss of an immediate or direct family member to be supported by a death certificate. The third case is hardship or trauma. Victims of crimes or accidents may be considered. Military service may also be an acceptable reason. Again, these have to be validated by supporting evidence. The request for refund form, as well as the supporting documents, need to be submitted no more than 5 days after the test date. For test postponement, the conditions that may be considered are the same as those I had earlier mentioned: hospitalization or serious injury, loss of an immediate or direct family member, hardship or trauma, and military service. This time, still within the 5-day period after test date, a test date transfer request form needs to be filled up, to which the documents have to be attached, as well as an administrative fee for the test date transfer. The candidate will have to choose a new test date within a 3-month period from the original test date. All requests will be subject for approval by the testing center. How is the test conducted? The listening, reading, and writing tests, or the written parts of the exam, shall be held on the same day. The speaking test can be held as early as 5 days before the test to as late as 5 days after the test. Please check your confirmation email for dates and times of your written and speaking tests. What should I take with me on test day? The most important thing you have to bring is the original ID that you submitted upon registration. Not a photocopy, not a screenshot. It has to be the original ID. No ID, no test. You also need to bring at least 3 wood-clinched pencils, already sharpened, an eraser, and a sharpener. There are instances, however, when some testing centers provide these. All other items, such as bags, wallets, and mobile phones, must be deposited at the test venue's designated baggage area. How and when can I claim my test results? Test results are available 13 days after the written test. On the 13th day, one may claim it at the testing center if it happens to have a branch in your locality, and I believe an ID should be presented. It can also be sent to your review center if you wish, or it can be mailed directly to you. Claiming it at the IDP and British Council offices can be done on the 13th day, but for the other options, one needs to give an allowance of an additional 2 to 7 days, as a delay in courier services needs to be considered. If you still have not received your test results despite the allowance, please contact the testing center to trace the document. The address stated in your registration form is the exact address to which the results shall be sent. If someone shall be claiming your test report form or TRF on your behalf, an authorization letter signed by you shall be needed, along with your ID and that of the person you have authorized. By the way, upon receiving your TRF, please check details such as birthday, gender, spelling of name, and other details because sometimes there could be errors. Contact IDP or British Council as they will replace your TRF with a corrected one. Test results may also be viewed online through your testing center's website 13 days after the test. It will be visible online for 28 days before being automatically deleted by the system.
I hope I've answered some of your questions. Part 2, which shall cover other questions, shall be uploaded very soon. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Till my next one, thank you for watching.